2010 and the Democrats. Democrats should be angry. I'm a registered independent. I'm liberal. I'm not a Democrat per se. If I was a Democrat and I'd put all my eggs in the party of the Democrats, I would be very angry. They have the great liberal Barack Obama, whom I voted for, control of both the House and the Senate, and they have very, very little to speak of in terms of accomplishments since Barack Obama has been elected. At least during Bush, right, they could be angry because the other party has power. And hey, they're not going to get anything done when George Bush is in power. And at least for the first part of Bush's presidency, his party also controls the Congress. Now their own party has control and has for some time. We know healthcare is at the top of the list of so far nothing has happened. And we'll get to more on healthcare a little bit later. I would be very angry if I had put all my eggs in with the Democrats and Barack Obama. Nothing has happened. And I know we'll get a long laundry list from listeners of things that have happened. There is much to be desired here. And I would be I'd be angry if I was a registered Democrat and had donated money, God forbid, like you claim you have.
Okay. Right.
I mean, am I wrong here?
Well, everything's relative. We got the stimulus package.
Right.
Which seems to be helping things.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to say that brought us out of a recession, that's big.
Okay. Fair enough. What else do we have?
That's about the only big thing I can think of.
That's what you have. I mean, we have Guantanamo. That didn't happen.
Right, didn't happen.
We can go through the list. We don't have to. And along the lines of Democrats in trouble, David Patterson, the New York governor that replaced, remember when Governor Elliot Spitzer, was caught in a prostitution ring with Ashley Dupre?
Yes.
Well, he was replaced by David Patterson. David Patterson announced he would run for re-election. Within days, he announced that he wouldn't. And that's weird. Why would somebody only be a candidate for a few days and then decide not to run? Well, the rumor is that an aide of his hit a woman and that it was going to become a political issue because he was somehow trying to make the case go away. This is David Johnson, who was accused of attacking his girlfriend, smashing her into a mirrored dresser and trying to prevent her from calling 911. This is all alleged, I'll make clear. The claim is that Patterson put himself in the middle of the case and urged for it to, quote, go away. Whatever that's code for, and I think we know what that is code for.
Right, but his excuse was that he cannot handle what needs to be handled in his position while running a campaign. That's what he said.
He can't both be governor and run for governor at the same time.
He said he can't govern well enough and run a campaign.
If that was really the reason, that's a great reason.
That's gold.
That's one of the criticisms of when we have somebody. I mean, that was a criticism of Barack Obama. He had only actually been a senator before he started his campaign. I don't know, a few months. You can't both be a senator and run for president at the same time. That's a great argument. However, it seems pretty clear that this is related to this scandal where he's trying to make a case go away, and how forceful he's been in trying to make that case go away. I don't know, but it doesn't sound good.
Right. Well, the second I heard his statement, I said, okay, what's really going on here? What did he do wrong?
Right. And it looks like that's what it is. Charlie Rangel, also caught in a swirl of ethics inquiries, who has announced that he'd temporarily stepped down from his post as chairman of the Tax Policy Writing Ways and Means Committee. Very powerful committee. The House Ethics Committee admonished Mr. Rangel, an ally of Speaker Nancy Pelosi, for violating congressional gift rules. He accepted a bunch of corporate-sponsored trips to the Caribbean. And I think there's some other things kind of in the loop that may have gone on. The ethics panel's investigating. He actually had a good reason for saying that he was going to step down, which is if he doesn't, fellow Democrats will have to defend him in their campaigns, and that would hurt them because they're clearly going to be asked, do you defend Charlie Rangel's not stepping down? So he stepped down, not looking too good for Charlie Rangel. And Harold Ford Jr., who now is also running for who knows what. It's never clear what he's running for. And what I mean by that is I just don't have it in my notes. He showed up. Remember when he was going back and forth and he had this ad on gay marriage saying he never said he supported gay marriage? Well, now he's saying he's actually in favor of gay rights, and people aren't buying it at all because we know why it's switching. Here's Harold Ford at an anti-gay protest, anti-gay liar and huge novelty liar signs at this event and the protest outside.
That was the reception Harold Ford got from the Stonewall Democratic Club. An issue that Ford twice voted to change the Constitution to bar same-sex marriage while he represented Tennessee in Congress. Eyeing office here now, he said he was wrong. But to many, the gesture oozed insincere politics, and they let him know it.
I voted twice in favor of it, and I was wrong. I now recognize the wrongness of my ways, and now announcing the vote.
So the crowd not liking it. How convenient. When being against gay marriage is politically advantageous in Tennessee, I believe it was, he's against gay marriage. Coincidentally now, running, I believe in New York, it's advantageous to be in favor of gay marriage. And he now realizes at an incredibly convenient and coincidental time that he was simply wrong. Well, I'm glad that people don't seem to be buying it. And we've heard a lot of he agrees with Dick Cheney stuff from Harold Ford in interviews over the last few months. Whatever happens to this guy in the election, I'm not going to be too concerned, even though I get that he is a, quote, Democrat. I'm not worried at all about helping Harold Ford out. Okay, Alvin McEwen wrote about our interview with Paul Cameron, the very anti-gay Paul Cameron. Mm-hmm. Alvin wrote a great article about the interview in the Huffington Post, and he actually followed up and wrote kind of a... based on the comments that he got, he wrote another article, and he says, recently, I posted 2 interviews with discredited researcher Paul Cameron conducted by Midweek Politics. The response to these posts have been, in my view, successful. Many people who weren't aware of Cameron became educated on his lies about the gay community. But then there was a segment who asked why I was giving Cameron attention. They claimed any focus on him validated him. They were under the impression that if Cameron was ignored, he would go away. Unfortunately, this mindset includes other lies told about the gay community by religious right people. What some fail to understand is the lies don't go away if we simply ignore them. And we've been talking about this for a while, which is if we talk about something that Rush Limbaugh said, or Glenn Beck, or Shirley Phelps Roper, who'll be on shortly with us from the God Hates Fags Westboro Baptist Church, if we don't talk about it, it doesn't go away, right? And we're making very clear, if I do or don't agree with the guest, I make it very clear. I don't think there's any surprise. And I agree 100% with what Alvin is saying, not to mention that we're doing a radio show, right? If we only have people on here who we agree with, it's going to be a pretty boring show.
Right. And we stand by that, and you'll be able to tell if you listen for a little bit longer because we're going to have Shirley Phelps Roper on. That's
absolutely right. We will have her on. And we're also going to talk about Roy Ashburn. If you haven't heard the Roy Ashburn story, he is the state senator in California who is a longtime fierce opponent of gay rights. And he was arrested last week for drunk driving after leaving none other than a gay nightclub.
This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Midweek Politics is brought to you in part by Just Coffee Cooperative, fair trade coffee from around the world roasted daily at justcoffee.coop. By Jackson & Connor, classically modern men's apparel in Northampton, Massachusetts on the second floor of Thorne's Marketplace. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.